Hello my friend, in this video we're going to be going over music promotion budgets, particularly for DIY or independent artists, musicians, and record labels. And also, if you stick around till the end, there's not one, but two bonuses waiting for you. So let's jump in. So one of the things that I do for artists in my community is do what I call music marketing audits, where basically they submit a form where they can send me links to all their music and answer a bunch of questions about their music marketing and their music career so that I can provide some actionable and direct advice right after. And I was doing a bunch of these yesterday, and I noticed something a bit strange about this particular batch of submissions. And this was that a large chunk of these artists happened to have very large monthly budgets, and at the same time they were unhappy with the results that they were getting or actually just getting started. And so don't get me wrong, I definitely love the commitment to the cause and the enthusiasm here, but I truly believe that independent and DIY artists should start low and slow with their music marketing and promotion, particularly at first, and then only ramp up or scale up their spending or time once they've proven that that smaller initial budget is actually working for them and directly getting them the results that they want. You see, it can take a while for an artist to dial in their sound or really nail their music, let alone become a Facebook ads expert or some music promotional monster. So by starting slow, you can test what does and doesn't work while the stakes are lower, and then only ramp things up once you've proven that your music marketing budget and the time that you're putting into as well are actually being well spent. And this is important for three reasons. One is by starting slow like this, you do prevent any kind of burnout. So if you were spending $5,000 a month or something like that on your music marketing and you weren't getting the results you wanted to, after a couple of months of that, you might kind of start feeling the strain and feel like it's not really worth your time or effort, and you might give up. Two is that by starting slow like this, you can prove out that whatever tactics you're using are actually getting any results. That way you don't overspend on these tactics, not knowing that they actually were useless or really weren't that effective. So you can experiment with a lot lower budgets, make sure things are working, and then this actually leads to having better results when you do scale up. And the third is that these two things, which are preventing burnout and making sure that you actually get better results, these actually lead up to the third point, which is that you can actually make sure that you are the artist 4 to 5 years from now that's still crushing it, because you took time when the stakes were a lot lower to make sure things were working and make sure you didn't have any burnout so you give up, and you're actually going to be still killing it in 4 to 5 years from now. So the next question would be, where should an independent artist or independent label spend their marketing dollars, spend their music promotion dollars? So next, what I want to do is go over a music marketing budget breakdown of what I think you should spend money on and what I do not think that you should spend money on, more importantly. So the first and most important thing here is that I truly believe that artists should only spend money on things that are going to directly drive results that they want to get. So if this is streams, getting new fans into your world, those kinds of things, if this tactic or tool or service is going to directly do that, then I would spend money on it. So one thing that I found incredibly useful, and I think a lot of other artists have as well, is something like Facebook ads. When you put money into Facebook ads, you can directly capture the attention of a fan and bring them over to your music. This is directly getting you a result that you want. For example, if you spent money on a website, that website is not going to bring any new fans over to your music automatically. You're going to be spending money on a website and then also have to spend money on something that will directly get you the results. And this nicely leads me into point number 2 here, which is where you should just avoid costs on absolutely everything else other than those very specific tactics that are directly getting you streams or growing your fan base or generating sales or anything like that. So these are things like websites, all the different music links, particularly when there are free alternatives to these things that can get you the same result. There's no reason that you should be spending $10 or $20 or $30 a month on these tools that aren't actually doing anything for you. They're giving you the opportunity to have something done for you. And then I would take this even a step further, and I would honestly encourage all artists to limit any non-music promotion, but maybe they're still music related expenses as well. So this would be things like music videos, which are overpriced and a dated way to try to build a fan base these days. These would also be things like graphic design. If you can learn how to do it yourself, I would highly recommend it. This would also be things like music production, music mixing, music mastering. If you can take the time to learn these things on your own, you can save so much money and so much time because you're not beholden to somebody else's schedule for getting these things done. And honestly, YouTube is your biggest friend here. I'm a big proponent of the University of YouTube, where you can find anything and figure out how to get anything done. It's absolutely amazing. And promoting and getting your music heard is no exception here. You can find resources on the internet all over the place for how you can get these things done. It may take a little bit of time, it may take a little bit more digging, but it is possible to save a crazy amount of money here. And honestly, again, that would also definitely also apply to something like courses. And I actually have courses available for sale, but I would honestly encourage anyone to not buy them and instead direct that money towards something that's going to get you actual results. That's the main thing I want to talk about here. So with that out of the way, we're going to now move into some more specific examples of music marketing budgets, some kind of like templates that you can use for monthly budgets for promoting your music. So personally, I do believe that there are two main types of promotional campaigns that an artist is going to want to run on a month-to-month basis, and those are new release campaigns and ongoing promotion campaigns. So let's go over these one by one. So the first, a new release campaign. This is going to be a campaign that is promoting your brand new release. Personally, I recommend doing something like Facebook ads, which directly get fans over to your music. I spend around $100 to $200 per month on Facebook ads for each new release, and I only spend that money within the first 1 to 2 weeks. And the reason that I do this is because the Release Radar Spotify algorithm is so powerful. So in the first 28 days, you're able to potentially trigger that algorithm, and I find if you can't get that triggered in the first 1 or 2 weeks, the law of diminishing returns kicks in, and there's no point in continuing to spend for that few extra days or whatever it may be of that Release Radar boost. And obviously you can spend more if you'd like to, but again, I would recommend starting slow and then building up to that. But I find $100 to $200 be something that's personally very manageable for me. It's not too expensive. And honestly, I cannot stress this enough. The direct amount of streams or results that you're going to get from a Facebook ad, particularly with Spotify, is complete garbage. Do not get too obsessed with your numbers in the Facebook ads manager. That's why I believe spending a small amount like this is ideal, because it's just enough to start triggering the Spotify algorithm where you'll then get a substantial, significant amount of streams. The Facebook ads is just to kind of juice the goose a little bit, get that Spotify algorithm growing, where then you get an actual amount of meaningful streams. If your cost per click or your cost per conversion is 0.00001 cents, but you're getting 0 streams and 0 followers from that, all you're doing is just giving Mark Zuckerberg free money. I would encourage you, when running a music marketing budget, to track your results carefully and track the right metrics to make sure that your budget is actually being spent in the right areas. And then the second thing that I'd recommend is an ongoing promotion campaign. So this is something that's running every single day. So you're always bringing new fans into your world and growing your numbers all the time, even if you don't have a new release or if you're caught up with anything. So the main thing that I recommend doing is something I call a Spotify playlist campaign, which is just about $1 or $2 per day that I spend driving fans over to a Spotify playlist that I own. It's filled with my own music, so it gets streams to my back catalog, which can also kind of help with Discover Weekly and all that kind of stuff, as well as just generally building up my retargeting audiences and building up new data in the Spotify algorithm. So I'd recommend doing something like that. And something else you can look into is something really cool called a Fan Finder campaign from a really cool company called Entrepreneur. It's a little bit different. I won't talk about it too much because I would recommend checking it out yourself and diving into that. The Fan Finder method is something really cool that you can do that's ongoing and constantly making sure that your music career is growing as well. And as a quick third thing, you could have a third campaign that is for selling merch or getting leads or growing a membership. On this channel, we mostly talk about making more music and getting that music heard, so I won't talk about it too much, but that is definitely something that you might want to allocate some budget to as well. In terms of a music marketing and promotion budget directly about getting your music heard, particularly on Spotify, I would recommend $100 to $200 on a new release campaign each month, as well as about $1 or $2 per day on a ongoing promotional campaign as well. But remember that the catch here is that you should start slow with all of this. Make sure you're tracking your stats correctly along the way. Make sure you're tracking the metrics that matter the most, and then you can build up to a budget like these, and then go even further if you have the budget and if you would like to. And with that said, I'd mentioned that I do have not one but 2 bonuses for you. The first is a 7-step release checklist. It's the 7 steps that I follow every time that I release music, very focused on only the things that will get me results. Again, spending money on only the things that get results. And then it's also very copy and paste. This way it doesn't take as much time, because the idea is to release music every 28 days to maximize on that Release Radar algorithm. It makes sense to make everything as streamlined as possible so that you can quickly copy and paste things, set it and forget it, and then move on to the other things that you'd actually like to do in your day. And then the second bonus that I'm going to add in, particularly because we're in this kind of recessionary period and I think a lot of artists are feeling the strain, I do have a training that is completely dedicated to money management for independent and DIY artists. And normally I would stick this in one of the courses that I sell, but because of the time we're in and I want to be as freely giving of my knowledge as possible during this time, I'm going to throw that into the 7-step release checklist as well. In particular, in that guide, there's a lesson that goes over analyzing your personal budget, and this way you can find out what is maybe frivolous spending, things that you don't need to spend money on, so that you can pull that out, and it allows you to carve out a space in your monthly budget that you can then dedicate to music marketing. So if you've been having a hard time finding money that you can actually use to invest in your music career, this is a great way to not only clean up your personal finances, but also then carve out that budget so that you can take your music career more seriously. And during the recession, it's going to be a fantastic time to invest in your career if you have the ability to, because people are going to be needing more music to get through this rough time, and because there's most likely going to be discounts on ad spending because a lot of companies are going to be spending less. It's probably a topic for another video. There'll be a link in the description below for that 7-step release checklist, which includes the extra bonus of that money management guide. And other than that, like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and good luck on your next release, and I will see you in the next video, my friend. Have a good one.